The clan cast her out for the crime of silence. In a world that demands the roar of the hunter and the shriek of the warned, Elara's quiet observation was seen as a void, a weakness. Now the jungle claims her. Every rustle of a cicad frond is a pounce in waiting, every distant bellow a promise of annihilation. This is the brutal, simple arithmetic of prehistoric life. She moves with a hunter's grace she was never allowed to show, her small feet making little sound on the damp earth. A flint knife, sharp enough to butcher a lizard, and a digging stick fashioned from fire-hardened wood. It is a pathetic arsenal in the land of titans, a world where the very air trembles with the footfalls of dinosaurs. Her banishment is a death sentence, just a slower one than the rending claws of a raptor. A sound cuts through the canopy's drone. It is not the territorial shriek of a pterosaur or the guttural challenge of a rival carnivore. It is a low, mournful tone, a vibration that seems to come from the soil itself, a sound of profound pain. Fear tells her to run, to climb, to disappear. All the lessons of her short life, all the terror-filled stories told around the clan's fire scream at her to flee. But the sound is not a threat. It is a lament, driven by an instinct older and deeper than fear. She follows. She pushes aside a curtain of giant ferns, their spores dusting her skin, and sees it. A Parasaurolophus, magnificent and broken. The creature is immense, a moving mountain of muscle and scale, its elegant cranial crest, usually held high, now droops. One of its powerful rear legs is twisted at a sickening angle, the bone a white shard piercing through green flesh. The coppery scent of blood hangs heavy, a dinner bell for every predator for a mile. Its eye, a vast, dark or brimmed with ancient wrinkles, fixes on her. There is no malice in it, only agony and a terrifying vulnerability. This giant, whose kind her people hunt with coordinated desperation, is now as helpless as a hatchling fallen from its nest. The clan would see this as an offering from the spirits, a bounty of meat and bone for the taking. They would swarm it with their spears, their osteodontokeratic technology of sharpened ribs and horn-tipped clubs finding easy purchase. But Elara sees only the shattered leg and the tremor of pain that runs through its flank. She sees her own solitude, her own brokennesses, reflected in a creature she was taught only to fear or kill. In this moment, she makes a choice that deviates from the brutal script of hominid history. She steps forward, not with a spear, but with her hands empty. The great hadrosaur lets out a low rumble, a sound that vibrates through the soles of Elara's feet. It is a warning. Her advance, though slow, is an intrusion. She freezes, making herself small, an act of submission her own kind would have mistaken for cowardice. Days bleed into one another. She does not try to touch the creature. Instead, she becomes a silent guardian. She uses her digging stick to unearth succulent roots, leaving them a respectful distance from its snout. She finds a stream and laboriously ferries water in a makeshift vessel of clay and woven leaves. This simple act of altruism is a rebellion against the core tenet of her world: take what you can, kill what you must. She is giving, with no guarantee of return. Slowly, the dinosaur, whom she begins to think of as Echo, accepts her presence. It watches her with its vast, intelligent eye, its pain-filled groans softening into something else. A dialogue begins, one without words. A hollow series of resonating chambers becomes its voice. A low, continuous hum means contentment. A sharp, percussive blast means alarm. She learns its language of vibrations, a skill her noisy, boisterous clan never valued. Anthropology would struggle to define this bond forming in the humid quiet of the Cretaceous, an unprecedented leap for early humans. Meanwhile, the clan she left behind is starving. Their world is shrinking. A new terror has claimed their hunting grounds, a pack of Utahraptors, larger and more cunning than any they have faced before. These are not solitary hunters. They are a thinking, coordinated plague, feathered nightmares with sickle claws that can gut a man in a single upward stroke. The clan's proven tactics, the spear wall, the ambush at the watering hole, are useless. The raptors anticipate them. They dog to prey away from the hunters, only to isolate and kill the men themselves. A scouting party of 3 vanishes, leaving only the drag marks of their bodies in the mud. The clan's alpha, a man named Kale, whose strength is his only language, leads a desperate charge against the pack. It ends in a bloodbath. They are outmaneuvered, flanked, and torn apart. Kale returns with the fewer hunters and a gash across his face, but has stolen the sight from one eye, once governed by the predictable terror of the Tyrannosaurus rex, is now unmade by the strategic genius of smaller, swifter killers. Fear becomes a constant companion, a ghost that sits by their dwindling fire. They are trapped in their own caves. The boneyard of their past kills a mockery of their present hunger. Their survival skills, honed over generations, have met an evolutionary dead end. In her clearing, Elara hears the distant echoes of their failure. The scent of their fear drifts on the wind, a smell she knows intimately. Echo senses it too. The hadrosaur's leg is healing, knitting itself back together with the slow, inexorable power of nature. It can now put weight on it, moving with a limp that is none the less powerful. One evening, as the twin moons begin their ascent, a sound pierces the jungle quiet. It is not the cry of a beast, followed by the triumphant bird-like calls of the Utahraptor pack. They are attacking the caves. The clan is being erased. The sound is a blade slicing through the jungle's drone. It is the music of extinction, the short, sharp screams of hominids being dragged into the dark. Elara looks at Echo, and the great hadrosaur looks back, its vast eye holding her own. There is no need for a command. The pain of her clan is a vibration they both understand. She scrambles onto its broad back, her hands finding purchase on the thick, scaled hide. The act is unthinkable, a violation of every natural law she has ever known. This is a union that will alter the course of ancient history, a partnership born in a forgotten corner of this prehistoric world. Echo rises, his healed leg taking his weight, and they move. The ground trembles. Trees and ferns whip past as they charge toward the screams, not as prey fleeing but as a force of nature arriving. They erupt from the tree line into the clearing before the caves. It is a scene of methodical slaughter. The Utahraptors are a fluid, feathered killing machine. They flow around the clan's desperate defenders, their sickle claws flashing in the torchlight, their movements a horrifying ballet of death. Kale is there, a primal figure of defiance, his one good eye blazing with fury as he swings a massive club of bone, but for every raptor he fends off, to others dart in to drag another clan member away. They are losing. They are being dismantled. And then they see it. Every combatant, raptor and human alike, freezes, a girl and a monster, fused into a single, impossible silhouette against the light of the moon. For a moment, all is silent save for the crackle of the fire. The raptors tilt their heads, their bird-like intelligence processing this anomaly. Kel stares, his jaw slack, the laws of his universe crumbling before his eyes. Elara feels the deep, resonant thrumming in Echo's chest. She presses her hands against the base of his cranial crest, the source of his voice, a gesture he now understands. She does not ask for violence. She asks for voice. Echo plants his powerful feet, inhales a breath that seems to draw in all the air in the clearing, and unleashes the full power of his vocalization. It is not a roar. It is a physical wall of sound, a low-frequency blast so powerful the ground shakes and pebbles dance. The very air seems to solidify, a concussive wave that slams into the raptors. It is a sonic weapon born of million years of evolution. And the pack's sensitive hearing, their key to coordinated hunting, becomes their undoing. Neurological pain, their primary weapon, their coordinated intellect, shattered by the overwhelming sensory assault. They break, disoriented, panicked, and deafened. They abandon the hunt and scatter into the darkness, fleeing a threat their predatory minds cannot comprehend. In the ringing silence that follows, no one moves. The surviving members of the clan, bleeding and broken, do not look at the retreating shapes of their tormentors. They look at the girl they cast away, seated atop a living mountain that has just saved them all. Her silence, once a mark of shame, has become a conduit to a power they never knew existed. Kill. The alpha, the embodiment of their old ways, lets his heavy club fall from his hand. It clatters on the stone floor of the cave entrance. The sound of a world ending and a new one beginning, this single act, this impossible friendship, becomes a seed. It is not the beginning of the taming of dinosaurs, an absurd dream for these early humans. It is the dawn of a far more radical idea that the world is not merely something to be fought, killed, or survived, but something to be understood. The clan was saved not by a sharper spear or a stronger arm, but by a quiet girl's empathy, an act of altruism that rewrote the rules of hominid history. It is a lesson that will echo down through the long, brutal story of human evolution, the audacious notion that our greatest strength is not the fire in our hands, but the ability to see a flicker of ourselves in the eyes of another, even the eyes of a monster. It is a lesson etched not in stone, but in the shared memory of two species who found in each other's solitude the one sound that mattered, the heartbeat of a friend. These are the chronicles of the first gamble, the whisper of our genesis, when we stood in the shadow of giants and dared, for the first time, to imagine a dawn. But in the deep waters something ancient was stirring, and it did not fear the trumpet's call.